Sunset Boulevard. So many great movies. The winner is from South Korea. I thought it was best foreign film, right? Best foreign movie. No, it was did this ever happen before? And then you have Brad Pitt. I was never a big fan of his. He got up and said a little wise guy statement. Little wise guy. He's a little wise guy. Anyway, but we're doing well. But here, I'll just show this real quick, right? So this horrible journalist, she's a real, she's a Trump hater. She gets, you know what she's worth? 0 ratings. Nobody watches her. But she said, she was trying, look, Bloomberg made a fool out of himself last night. He choked. He's another one who's going, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Don't ask me the question, please. I look at my wife, I said, let's send him a little note. It's not so easy up there to do what I did, right? Not so easy. But this woman who's a 3rd rate, 4th rate, she's been with everybody. Every year she's like with a different group, but I won't use her name because we'll make her too famous. It actually plays to their advantage, but she's 3rd rate. And she's on the lowest rated show on Fox, Neil Cavuto. So that's why. So she said, Donald Trump didn't get good ratings. He didn't do well in the polls. He said he didn't do well on the debates. She said that we were defeated in the debates. Well, I defeated crooked Hillary every time, and by a lot. So wait. So, yeah, she's crooked as a $3 bill. You know, I was going, whatever happened to the 33,000 emails? Whatever happened? 33,000, she deleted them and acid washed them, and she didn't get in trouble. Can you imagine if a Republican did that? They would want to bring back the death penalty, right? 2 standards, but I think things are happening. I think, I said drain the swamp. I just never knew how deep it was. We have more garbage in the swamp than you would ever believe. And this is part of the swamp. So what happens? She said Donald Trump didn't do well in the debates. Now, remember my answer? Rosie O'Donnell, right? First question I've ever, and we took down the House. Then the second, Brett Baer, he asked me, I had to raise the hand. I'm the only one, I guess, that raised the hand, right? And the place went crazy because I was the only one telling the truth, okay? Turned out I was the only one telling, and the people get it. But she said I didn't do well in debates. I said, really? I won every single debate. We had 15 or 14 debates, and we had the presidential debates with crooked Hillary against myself. So here's one. I don't want to, I'm a little guilty because these are all my friends, right? A lot of them are my friends now. They weren't my friends then. They were my mortal enemy. It's hard to be friends when you're competing against somebody, right? You're right about that. So here's Donald Trump, 67. The next one was 13%. The next one was 5%, 4%, 3%, 2%, 2%, 2%, 1%, 1%, and 0. But here it is. All right, that's Time magazine. All right, that's Time. They don't like me. I don't like them either, by the way. Although, actually, I do like the new owner. This year, I got beaten out by Greta. You know Greta? The last year, I got beaten out. I've won it, but when the world evolves around all of us, we should be chosen. There's nothing wrong with it, right? I mean, we've won it. But we should win it every single year, let's face it. And now they call it Person of the Year. They don't call it Man of the Year. And I know the women out there are saying, isn't that nice? But a lot of the women out there don't like it. They don't like it. We could have a Woman of the Year and a Man of the Year. I like that. Okay, here's Drudge's report. Drudge, he's starting to treat me good again. He's starting to like me again. I like him. Look, Trump. And Ted Cruz, I can say he came in second. He was a great debater. And Marco came in third. and a guy who I don't like much, and they don't like him much in Ohio either, Kasich. He was way down, way down. Okay, look, who won? Trump? Okay. Here's another one. Look, again, a different one, Time Magazine. Trump, 33%. Ben Carson, good man, he was down. Marco, Jeb, Ted. Carly Fiorina, a name I haven't heard in a long time. What happened to Carly? And Rand, good poll. Here's the story, look, but way up, way up. Look at it. Here's another one. Look at that. Trump, 46%. I didn't make this up. Here's another one. This is a different debate. I don't know. They're all different. I won every one of them. Look, Trump. I just took these at random. 46%. Second, 5%. 3%, 5%, 3%, 9%, 5%, 11%. Trump, 46%. Here's another one. CNBC. Well, you know, the market's been up. They've actually been not so bad. And Joe Kiernan is a good guy. He is a good guy. Some of the rest I don't care for too much. Becky's like, she plays it a little bit down the middle, right? Which is okay. Trump, almost 50%. Then they have all the rest of them. 14, 4, 3, 2, 2.8, 2.54, 1.9. I'm not going to give you the names. I won't tell you that. I got 48.8. And Jeb Bush got 1.1. The rest I'm not going to talk about. But he hasn't been exactly a great supporter. You know? Sort of a never-Trumper, I guess. So Jeb, 1.9, 1.1. And Trump, 48. That's another one. Oh, here's a nice one. Here's a nice one. Look at this. Look at this. Trump, 70%. Next one is 18%. Next one is 7, 4, 3, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1. Trump didn't do well in the debates. See, they're fake news. Here's another one. Trump kicked ass. Trump kicked ass. Trump 48. Number 2 was 6. Here's another one. Trump 75.6. Crooked Hillary was 24%. This was against Crooked Hillary. So look at that. Trump was 74.6. Crooked Hillary Clinton was 24.1. Trump was 80%. Crooked Hillary was 18%. And I've got this woman. You know who it is, right? Nobody knows her name. I'm not going to mention. But everybody knows Neil Cavuto. She has no credibility, and neither do you, Neil Cavuto. Here's another one. Crooked Hillary. And by the way, one is a Fox poll. One is Breitbart. One is a Drudge Report. One is a Patch. One is Syracuse.com. One is Polit Opinion. Oh, that's a good one. But look at these numbers. Trump, 92. What is this? So I'm winning every poll. I beat Crooked Hillary. Here's the one. Trump, 61, Crooked Hillary, 39, okay? That's what it is. And then I turn on the damn show on Fox. Again, it's not the same. It was much better. It really was. It was much better. I turn on Fox, and I've got this third-rate political journalist, if you call her that, saying, Trump did very poorly in the debates, but he became president. No, I did great in the debates. I became president because of the debates, because unlike Mini Mike, I could answer questions. And here's the final one. And I could get you another 15. These are all the ones that are taken right after. People call in hundreds of thousands of people. They call in Time Magazine, CNBC. So here's a CNBC. Crooked Hillary Clinton, 39%. Donald Trump, 61%. And then this stupid person said I didn't debate. Well, now look, you know, I don't mind, and you can have bad debates, but I won every single debate. And then I listened to this. Then 3.5, 4 years later, I have to listen to a person saying how we didn't do well, because these people are among the most dishonest people anywhere in the world. Take it, take it. There it is. Okay, let's get back to business. Now I feel good. Now I feel good. She's a third-rate journalist. Let's go. We're standing up in defense of our Constitution, our freedom, and democracy itself, right? While the extreme left has been wasting America's time and doing all sorts of vile hoaxes, we went through hoaxes, we went through the impeachment scam. And by the way, Corey was with us all the way. He didn't move, he didn't budge. He said it's a lot of bull. He said it's a lot of bull. But while they're doing that stuff, and you know, we're working with a cloud, we're working with these people. They want to take you out. They want to change the results. They got caught spying, let's say it like it is, right? They got caught spying on our election fake news. Hey, fake news, take your cameras for a change and show them the room and show them behind you. Go ahead, show them the room. Show them the room. You see, they never do it, including Fox, by the way. Fox is not that much better. We just got lucky because we have some. All their high-rated shows are the shows that like Trump. All their loser shows like Cavuto are the shows that don't like Trump. How is Shep Smith doing lately, by the way? How's Shep Smith? He had the lowest ratings, and now Cavuto took his place, so that's okay. But they never show the room. My wife, our great first lady, she goes, I say, hi, honey, did you watch the debate? Yeah. How did the room look? Was that, because last night, I think we turned away 21,000 people. We had an arena that, it held like 12, but we fill up the basketball courts, right? Or the ice rink. We had to have 15, 16,000 people. It was like on fire. You all saw it. It was great. And she said to me, she said, darling, how did you do? I said, I did great. I said, did you see the arena? She said, no, they never show the arena. You know? You know that guy Dana White at UFC? Well, you know, I won't tell you about him yet, but he's a brilliant guy, right? I mean, he sold his crazy fighters, I mean, boom, boom, boom. $4 billion he got with Fertitas, great people. But you know what? They're always showing, it's full, it's full. These fakers back there, they don't want people, but I'll tell you what my wife said. They don't show it, but you can't imitate 15,000 people when it comes to the noise. Look, they won't show it. They never show it. And we've never had an empty seat from the day I came down the escalator, not one. And what these guys do, if Mr. and Mrs. Jones, sitting right up there, beautiful couple, if she said, darling, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do about it, darling, I have to go to the bathroom. He said, darling, I'll walk with you. The cameras glung onto those seats. They glung on. And they say there were 2 empty seats. Trump didn't fill up the arena. These are the worst people. But when I told them to spin around those cameras, they stayed that way. Now, if we had a protester somewhere in the arena, it could be up in that corner where it's loaded up with people. Those cameras, they look like a pretzel. They look like a pretzel. They want to find if there's trouble. Those same guys could cover anything. I used to think, well, it's the equipment. It's very rigid. They can't turn it. And then some idiot from up in the corner starts screaming stupid stuff. Of course, that's dangerous in this room, to be honest. We don't have it too much. They only pick on the guys that are all by themselves and aren't fighters. But if somebody up there does something, those cameras turn around, spin around like a pretzel. They bend, boom, they get... So that was the end of my theory that we have rigid equipment. No, and by the way, I told them, turn around. Not one of those cameras turned around to show the room. Because it's fake news. While the extreme left has been wasting America's time with vile hoaxes, we've been killing terrorists, creating jobs, raising wages, enacting fair trade deals, securing our border, and lifting up citizens of every race, color, religion, and creed, right? We added another 225,000 brand new, beautiful jobs last month. Way, way, way above what our great geniuses back there thought it would be. 225,000. Think of it. We right now have more people working in our country than at any time in the history of our country. Almost 160 million people. And right now, since the election, we go by the election, don't forget, a lot of things happened when we won. From the day we won, that beautiful November day, the most exciting night in the history of television, including UFC fights, The most
All right. I'm sorry for lowering the volume on Mr. Trump here. On President Donald J. Trump. Has his rally going on right now. But we're about that time to start our show here. Welcome to episode 28 of The Abyss. It's too loud in my head. I gotta lower the volume here, so... So welcome everyone to episode 28 of The Abyss. This is your host, The Eternal Abyss. How is everybody doing? I know it's been a couple weeks since my last stream. I've been traveling, been out of town, different time zones, been very busy, but I'm back. And before I go ahead and continue, I do want to greet everybody on all the different platforms that I'm on. Hello everyone at Bitwave. Hello everyone on YouTube. Hello everyone at DLive. Hello everyone at Periscope. And hello everyone at Twitch. How's everybody doing? Hopefully I won't get banned on any of them for this stream, like it happened a couple streams ago. We'll see. The night is young. The night is young, so there's always the possibility of Bananation hitting me here. I hate to go over like the rally here because usually Trump's rallies are really fun. They're really entertaining, but I don't want the stream to go on indefinitely. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put him aside here for the moment. Let me find the correct thing here. There we go. There we go. So, before I start, of course, I just want to mention, I have to shill a little bit for shekels and things like that. So, this is a one-man operation, of course. Not very high production values, as you can obviously see from the stream. And if you want to help out, any help is greatly appreciated. Streamlabs.com/TheEternalAbyss. Any level of generosity is greatly appreciated. Conservatives like myself, we need your support as we're being constantly shadow banned and shut down by big media outlets such as YouTube, Google, Twitter/Periscope, Facebook/Instagram, things like that. So if anybody wants to support, that'd be great. Follow, share, tweet, do whatever you need to do to spread the good word. So here we go. Let me just bring down a window so it's not distracting me too much. So I don't have a huge amount of topics to talk about because there's really 2 or 3 things that have really, really been going on in the news right now. And one of them is definitely Roger Stone. That's on the lips of everybody. Hi, Mom Patch. Oh, don't worry. You can multitask. I appreciate you listening. Thank you. Roger Stone is definitely one of the big topics of the news day, and the reason is because of the whole sentencing that came down and the incredible bias that was present in his trial and now sentencing. He was looking up to 9 years in jail, and it's insane. You have the judge who's still peddling Russia collusion hoaxes on the bench as she's giving out her her final commentary on the sentencing. She's talking about Russia collusion, which was proven to be a hoax. An absolute hoax. Yet she's still peddling this nonsense. Go figure. Then you have the foreman of the jury, who wrote and tweeted anti-Trump, columns and opinion, had a clear bias against Roger Stone and anybody who supported Trump, hated Trump supporters. Yet somehow she stayed on the jury, and she was the foreman. Not just any juror, the foreman, So there's a lot of talk about bias, but the thing is this, when you're talking about bias and activism in the judiciary, this isn't unique. Hi, Vitin Visa Jogo1 from Twitch. How you doing? To answer your question, this is just a political talk show. I talk politics, talk about some news items of the day. I'm newly kind of coming on here on Twitch. I usually do some gaming stuff on Twitch, but I decided that when I'm not doing gaming stuff, I might as well do the just chatting and talk politics and invite everyone to watch the politics sides of my online presence. So that's what it is. And you're welcome to stick around. I appreciate it. Whether you agree or not, everybody's welcome. I welcome differing opinions. It doesn't matter to me if you're a supporter or a non-supporter of any political party. I think good, healthy debate is a good thing, and I know I'm just gonna throw my opinions out there and see what people like and don't like, and you know, just have some fun. That's really what it boils down to. So, going back to Roger Stone, though, this is kind of a symptom of something bigger. There's something much bigger that's been happening for a very long time. This isn't something new, because you had this discussion about stacking courts, and the entire federal, regional, and state, local, every level of the judiciary system that we have in our country. Democrats have been trying systematically to put activist judges in there. Now, I don't care if someone's like a Democrat or a Republican if they're a judge. The problem is when you put ideology in front of law or in front of interpretation of the Constitution, when you're putting your own political beliefs as a lens on how you interpret the law, that's where things get bad. Before the judiciary system, the way the laws were interpreted were through the lens of natural law. It was a much more logical way of interpreting law. It made a lot more sense. The justice dispensed also made a lot more sense. And there's a good book. It's called, obviously enough, Natural Law. I may put up the title in the description once I'm done with the live stream here. And I would recommend. I think it's out of print now, unfortunately, but it's a very, very good book. I have not read through it entirely, admittedly, but I am very much in contact with legal scholars that have had wonderfully long discussions about everything that's in the book, and I've seen. I intend to read it all one day, and I can recommend it even further once I actually do read it all. But from what I've been told about it, and from the legal academic minds that I've spoken to, it makes a lot of sense to interpret law in that fashion. And then you also just want to interpret law as it is. You can't just look at a law and just go, well, I don't like it, so I'm going to make up my own interpretation. Or I'm going to make up some legal fiction to justify the ends that I want this case to meet. The law doesn't work that way. Yet you've had a lot of judges over time, and this goes all the way back even before the whole Roe versus Wade, for example. But Roe versus Wade is a perfect example of legal fiction that it was carried out in the courts, and it's a bad precedents to set. Either way, it's a bad thing. I can't get my words straight tonight, so I'm very exhausted. So if I say stupid things, more so than usual, that's probably why. Another thing that's been going around social media a lot, and I know everybody wants me to get into the meat and potatoes of the show, which is the debate, the Democratic debate. We'll get into that in just a moment. Before that, and this was something that was actually brought up in the debates, but it's been something that AOC, stupid, hashtag stupid, AOC, and did I mention stupid? Has mentioned several times that billionaires shouldn't exist. And this is something that, it is a stupid commentary to make, and Bernie Sanders, who is a socialist / communist, has essentially parroted the idiocy of AOC. And one has to think for a moment when you hear something like this, because it's very easy. It's very easy to dismiss something like this when you hear it. And I just noticed my little icon that's supposed to show me talking is not appearing. Why is that? There we go. Well, there's the icon. I don't know if the little green circle is going to start showing up. But anyways, that's what happens when I don't stream for a while. Things go haywire. Which the scheduling may change, my friends. We'll get into that in just a moment as well. That's something we'll get into further in the future of the show here. But it raises a very interesting question when you hear somebody say something like billionaires shouldn't exist, because it actually raises a lot of implications. It's not just a matter of, well, you shouldn't earn this much, or putting a cap on how much people earn. It gets deeper than that, because you're talking about this vilification of a certain group of people, saying billionaires, by their very nature, for the fact that they've earned this number of dollars and above, somehow become evil automatically by virtue of earning beyond the cap that is admittedly arbitrary at the end of the day. You know? And this is the question that I posed myself online, because AOC, stupid AOC again, was tweeting about that, was saying, oh, billionaires shouldn't exist. You know, they don't work billions times more than their average worker. They shouldn't be earning that much, while the rest are earning only $40,000 a month. Well, and I posed a very simple question. I would love to hear an answer. If you have an answer to this question, or if you can coerce AOC to actually provide an answer to this question, by all means, comment in the comment sections of videos, or tweet the reply to me. But the question that I asked was, well, why just choose that arbitrary number? First of all, what's so evil about being a billionaire? And then secondly, she earns 4 times $40,000 a year, or roughly 3 to 4 times more than someone who earns $40,000 a year. What makes her so special? She does not do 3 to 4 times more work than your average person that earns $40,000 a month. What makes her so special that she can earn a 6-figure salary doing nothing, and I mean nothing, yet somehow that's okay for her to earn more, even if it's only 6 figures? And if you think, and she got this, actually, I would even venture that she's worth more now than just 6 figures. I gladly wager that she's worth now in the 7-figure range, because of the whole there was this whole documentary deal that she did with Netflix, and they paid her like several $1 million, was something like that, from what I understood. I don't know if it was paid directly to her, or it was set up in a certain. I don't know the details of how the money and the contracts and all the licensing and all that kind of stuff. I don't know how all that worked out. I'm not privy to the contract and details of that. However, it wouldn't surprise me that money went into her pockets, because that's what she did with campaign money. She committed campaign finance fraud. So it wouldn't surprise me one bit that she pocketed some money from the whole Netflix deal. So what makes her so special? And then you have these billionaires, and you want to tax them. Okay, fine. let's say you want to tax them. I don't think billionaires are just going to sit idly and go, yeah, you know what, I'm going to give up all this wealth that I worked very hard to earn, and all the investment of time, labor, risk, and reinvestment into all the work that I had done. Why should I give all that money up? I wouldn't. It doesn't make sense for her to have this expectation that billionaires would do the same. So then what are you going to do with them? You're going to round them up, throw them gulags, seize their assets and money? I mean, this is dangerous talk. When someone says a group of people, for whatever reason it may be, should not exist, that's very dangerous. That's quite dangerous. And I don't think that is something that people should just go, oh, she's just saying something stupid, let's, ignore it as usual. No, her speech is not just stupid, it's dangerous, it's inciting. It's not overt incitement, but there's incitement in there. And I think that's the problem. And I think that's the only thing, if I ever have to give her credit for one thing, the one thing I will give her credit for is that she is very capable with using language. And not because she's good, she's well versed in the English language. It's not that. Because even some of the tweets that she puts out, and the stuff that isn't filtered by her handlers, for example, they're pretty banal. They do not show a good level of intelligence. But the one thing that I can say about her is that she has a way of creating controversy. And when she does certain critiques, she has a way of having this kind of incitement within her way of speaking that isn't overt. It's a very subversive way of speaking. And it's a very, subtle, in a sense, way of inciting divisions among groups, pitting people against each other. Because it's very, very easy. It's very, very easy to look at someone who has more than you and go, look at that guy that has the $5,000 gaming laptop, while I have to go with Adele. Or you see a guy with a Bentley or a Maserati or a Ferrari go down the street, and you're driving a Ford Focus. Something like that. It's very easy to be envious and go, what did that guy do to deserve something like that? What did that guy do to earn that sort of money to purchase such a vehicle or such a piece of technology? And a lot of times, that individual really didn't do a whole lot more than what you did. It's just a matter of life decisions, circumstance, and risk that this person took. If this person, for example, played the stock market, he put a lot of risk onto himself. Versus someone who plays it more safe may make different types of investments that say, well, I'm not gonna strike it super rich, but at the same time, at least I have a guaranteed capital. I have a guaranteed amount of money that no matter what happens, even if the stock market dies tomorrow, I still gonna have that amount of money that's gonna remain untouched. So it's very easy, though, as I mentioned, to look at the other person and go, it's not quite fair. And that's what these people, like Bernie Sanders and AOC and Ilhan Omar and such, these socialists, that's what they push. That's what they do. They manipulate very basic emotions. I mean, one of the 10 Commandments is do not covet thy neighbor. You know, like don't covet your neighbor's wife or property or whatever. And there's a reason for that, because it's a very basic human emotion to feel envy towards your neighbor if you see them with something better than you. They have a more attractive wife or husband. You look at them and go, "Dang, my spouse is just frumpy. That ain't cool. She's hot or he's hot." Things like that. You look at their car and you go, "Man, I got a freaking station wagon. This guy's got the latest Tesla." You look at your phone, you got a flip phone from like 20 years ago, while everybody has the latest iPhone and the latest Samsung that may or may not catch on fire. You know, so it's very easy to look at all that and just get kind of worked up about it. And especially when you're younger too. That's why millennials are particularly vulnerable to this sort of vilification of those that have and the have-nots. Because when you're young, by definition, you're going to be a have-not. When you're young, you're starting out your life. You're starting to build your wealth. You're starting to build all these things together. You're building relationships. You're building your living situation, where you're gonna live, what state or country, what job you're gonna have. All these decisions that you're making when you're young are gonna have long-term effects. And when you're young, you don't have a whole lot compared to people that hey, fear and loading. Yep, give some shekels, my friend. Anyway, so I was saying it's very easy to be suckered in by people like Bernie Sanders. Yeah, the youth is wasted on the youth, I feel. But it's very easy to be suckered in by AOCs and Bernie Sanders out there and Elon Omars and other socialists out there promising free everything. We're gonna pay for your education. We're gonna pay for all your meals in school. We're gonna forgive all your debts. Yeah, it's very, if I was still in my university days, I would go, you know what, that does sound pretty good. But the thing is, I'm a pragmatic guy. I'm a practical kind of guy. I would start thinking, well, wait a minute though. If I'm not paying it and my loans are forgiven, where's that money coming from? And that's when, you start peeling the layers from that onion. And you start seeing the smoke and mirrors go away, and you realize that it's not just a money grab, it's a power grab. Which goes back to when they say things like billionaires shouldn't exist. I mean, that kind of terminology has been used in the past by certain groups of people that wanted to eradicate other groups of people off the face of the earth. Genocide, gulags, and Bernie Bros. Bernie Bros have actually been on camera saying they want to put people in gulags. There's this I can't remember her first name. It starts with an L, but Deanne. She's running against Pelosi. And they left her voicemail saying, "Keep it up. You're gonna end up in camps." I mean, these people are serious. This isn't just like, oh, ha ha, trolling kind of thing. These guys work. They're like media coordinators for Bernie. And they like 10 of them that were working for Bernie and coordinating the outreach and the campaigning and all that. They made all their accounts private after Tom Fitton, I believe. From no, that's Judicial Watch. The other guy from Project Veritas exposed them, and the media doesn't cover it. Nobody talks about it. The media doesn't care. Of course they don't. Because why would they? But anyways, I don't like that. And when it comes to like the most basic thing here is they ask like Bernie Sanders this question: should billionaires exist? Well, yes, they should. Much like millionaires should exist, thousandaires, I guess is the term, should exist. Any level of income should exist. And this is why. Hi, Big Fathead from Bitwave. You missed everything, sir. Everything. Just everything. No, I haven't talked about the debate yet. I'm talking about I'm talking a bit about the whole question of billionaires, and that the Democrats, especially like Bernie Sanders, AOC, are saying that billionaires shouldn't exist. And I'm just wrapping that up, actually. I'm at the end of my little diatribe and soapboxing. But in a free market, anything that you earn, you should be able to keep. So if I make a killer app, or I open a luxurious hotel and restaurant, or I open a newspaper, or I open a media outlet, or I end up doing fantastic on streams like this. I end up being the next PewDiePie, which I don't have the accent for it, so I don't think it's ever gonna happen. Pipe dreams. But if I end up doing well in whatever I set myself to do, and all of a sudden there's a boon of money coming in, why shouldn't I be able to keep that? I put work into it, didn't I? I put time, effort. I risked. I risked my own finances, and I took away time from my life. Life is precious, okay? And if I take time away from my life for something, and I'm not trying to put this out there because I want people to donate. I'm just saying in general, anybody putting time and effort into something is deserving of some sort of compensation for that time. I don't believe in people doing work and then people not getting paid for it. For example, I believe that if you put in the time to do something, and if it pays off a little or pays off a lot, whatever it pays off, you should be able to keep that, because that's the free market. That's capitalism. And if you make a poor decision and you invested time in a poor decision, and your idea didn't work, which many businesses fail, that's normal. Then that's how it works. The people like AOC and Bernie Sanders makes it out to be as if you start a business. I know that it's sad that it requires explaining, but apparently it does, Mom Patch. I have to explain this to like the millennials and the Zoomers. No, but the thing is this: it's like it boggles my mind, because Bernie Bros and stupid AOC followers have this kind of mentality of, oh, you earn money somehow magically, and you don't deserve it. What says who? Who is the person that all of a sudden has to decide, oh, this person deserves money, this person deserves money, but you're conservative, you don't deserve money. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. And disparity within capitalism is actually not a bad thing. Because even the poorest people in a capitalist society, our poor here in the United States are actually way better off than the poor in third world countries. It very much is jealousy. It very much is jealousy, and it's very much envy. I agree with that, Mom Patch. It's just It's very much creating this illusion of disparity. That's not what DSP told me, Misery. I don't know what DSP told you. What did he tell you? Yeah, but what it boils down to is this: what you earn, what you work for, the investment of time, effort, labor, risk, all that. What you put in as an investment, you should, depending on several circumstances, you should get some sort of return on that investment. And whatever return of that investment is, you should keep it. It's yours. There's no reason for someone to say you don't deserve to earn what you did. If it's $100, if it's $100,000, if it's $100 million, if it's $100 billion. And if people really feel that that's unfair, then they should go to a country like Venezuela. They should go to a country that has been ruled by socialism, and you tell me then, what do you think? When you aren't allowed to have a decent living. I like to ask people that. I like to ask AOC that. I would love to hear an answer, but nobody asks her any of these tough questions. That's the problem. She's always hanging out with her own little cliques, and nobody's gonna ask her these kind of questions. So that's what it is. So we're gonna go into the final third, I suppose, or the final part of my stream for today. This is gonna take up the most time because we're gonna talk about the Las Vegas debate. We're gonna. I'm not gonna go into every single detail. I'm gonna kind of talk about some of the highlights, some notes that I took while I was listening to it. First of all, you people owe me, okay? That was not easy to go to sit through. I had to suffer for that. All right, so some appreciation is warranted here, and just a little thank you. A little thank you would be appreciated. All right, okay. Well, moving on. So it was actually pretty funny because as soon as the debate started, you could tell everybody was like really revving up and ready. Not really to debate, they just wanted to rail on Bloomberg. In fact, as soon as the debate started, the first question, they just slapped him in the face with stop and frisk. And then you had Warren jumping in and calling him an arrogant billionaire and equating him to Donald Trump, which they're the only thing that equates the two is the fact that they're wealthy, But it's really, really, really funny. Warren could not wait to just attack Bloomberg or Mini Mike. Yeah, and she has such a grating voice too. That's the thing, such a grating voice, and I can't listen to that woman. I thought Hillary Clinton had a horrible voice, which she does. Don't get me wrong. But Warren has that, and it's a teacher thing. It has to be a teacher thing, and no offense to teachers out there, but that voice, my God, it just makes you want to grab whatever sharp item is near you and just jam it into your eardrums. It's just, oh, good God. It's just terrible. And a lot of my notes actually has to do with her because Warren just was insane. She just lost her mind in this debate. Overall, let's actually take a big overall look at the entire debate. The entire debate overall was a cluster F, okay? It was a mess. It was basically WWE free for all, people flying on top of each other verbally. It was just a disaster. And then you had Joe Biden yelling and like as if his microphone wasn't working. He's just yelling at the top of his lungs. You had Klobuchar throwing her hands up in the air every 2 seconds, losing her patience and trying to talk, and when they kept cutting her off. Warren, they would just let her talk indefinitely. They gave Warren all the time in the world. Yes, that's right, Mom Patch. And Amy Klobuchar, she got nailed hard on the fact that she didn't know the name of the president of Mexico, and it was kind of funny how she tried to defend herself at first, and then she admits, yeah, it happens, people can forget. And the thing that really and I'll talk about this a little bit. Actually, I might as well talk about it now. The thing that I thought was really very hypocritical of everybody on that stage during that attack on Klobuchar wasn't the fact that they were attacking Klobuchar. What was hypocritical was that, oh, hey, it's okay to dunk on all the guys on the stage, but as soon as someone was dunking on Klobuchar, then you had Warren running to her defense, Pocahontas going on the warpath, going, oh, this is wrong. This is wrong. We shouldn't be doing this. This is wrong. People forget. And I'm like, what are you talking about, you loon? Like, she's on a committee that oversees this sort of stuff. You would think if she's on a committee that oversees this kind of stuff, she should know what she's talking about. You can't just have this, oh, she had a senior moment. No. Listen, if you're vying to be the president, okay, if she was running for a senator seat, or she was running for a representative seat, or a mayor, even a governor, I could say, okay, you know what? Governors don't have to really worry too much about international stuff. Representative senators, maybe a little, that they don't necessarily have to know this stuff beforehand. Fine. President, I mean, you're a sitting senator on a committee of international affairs, I believe is what the committee she's on, and she deals with Mexico regularly, and she doesn't know this, and she wants to be president? No, I'm not going to give her a pass on that one. Not happening. Negatory, morning glory. No. No, so... high school teachers couldn't deal with me when I was in high school, so there's nothing there. There's no contest. Troll GOPJ, not happening. But anyways, some highlights here. Some highlights from the debate. So as I mentioned, from the gate, Pocahontas was on the warpath. She was deranged, frankly. She was just all over the place. And she just kept attacking everybody. I mean, she attacked Bloomberg pretty hard, but she was attacking everybody pretty much. And the problem with Warren's attacks were they were all lies, misinformation, or disinformation, or misleading in some way or another. So let me give you a couple examples. You have, let's see here. Yeah, so she was saying, for example, that there's an entrepreneurship gap, a racial entrepreneurship gap. That more white people are starting businesses than blacks and Latinos, which actually isn't true, because if you look at the statistics, a lot of the businesses that have been started are, one, a lot of them are women, and then two, they're minorities. There's been a boom in minority businesses, business creation. So what she is saying is a bunch of hooey. Okay, essentially, it's absolute hooey when it comes to that. Then she talked about, again, her wealth tax. She kept misrepresenting the healthcare plans of Buttigieg and Klobuchar And even Bernie Sanders, she somewhat misrepresented that, but not really. Like in a sense that she Bernie Sanders was the one she got the most right. Um, but she was just on this horrible roll. I mean, all the stuff that she was spouting is like she wants to give more power to unions. My God, that's ridiculous. Now, I don't know if anyone out there are union workers, and if your union has done good by you, great. You know, good for you. I'm not gonna knock you if you're happy with your union. But from what I've seen about unions and what I've learned about unions and the experiences that I've had with them is they force you into a union. They force you to pay dues. You have not a whole lot to say. It's a big power money grab. And then, there's all these negotiations and stuff that happens every so often. And it's like, why? Why can't individuals nowadays, like if I interview for a job and they offer me a job, I negotiate with them what I'm looking for. I tell them this is the amount of pay I'm looking for. These are the kind of benefits I'm looking for. What do you offer? And they say, well, this is what we can offer you. And if I wanted to change something, I'm perfectly well within my rights to go, actually, you know what? I think that pay is not too great. Can we add something else to the plan? Can we do this? Can we do this other thing? I mean, unions in this day and age are pretty useless. I think there's very few circumstances where unions in this day and age are useful. Misery is saying a couple of things. I was neutral on Warren last election, but she has gone down a lot. I was not neutral because I already saw how horrible she was in the last one. She just didn't really. She didn't really put her foot forward that much because she didn't want to take away from Hillary's steam. She didn't want to steal Hillary's thunder. But she is not a moderate. She is a socialist as well. She's crazy lefty. Misery also says unions got corrupted like everything else where money is involved. Yes and no. I mean, the original concept of unions may have had a purpose, but they always had an issue with money, power, mob connections, violence. They've never really been good, in my opinion. Excuse me. I'm turning into a koofer. Uh-oh. Anyways, so I think when unions were first implemented, there was a reason for it, and they served a purpose, good or bad. You know. Yeah, but the thing is this: big fathead said unions are corrupt because they will always be corrupt when you centralize and increase administrative brick walls. But the thing is this: the only reason they have any sort of influence is the only reason they would have any influence is when people buy into that. And for them to maintain that sort of influence and power, they have to force people to buy into it. So, by the very nature of their existence, of how they function, they are exerting power over laborers in the guise of representation. But at the end of the day, what they're really doing is not really helping their laborers, their members. They're helping themselves because they want to make sure that the union remains. This is why unions go crazy when you start taking power and money away from them, because they see that as a direct threat to their existence. So we could talk about unions in more detail another time. I think that's sufficient. But you get the idea of why I feel unions are a big, big problem. especially in this day and age. I don't think in this day and age there should be any sort of existence of unions whatsoever. But yeah, Warren also, other bull crap that Warren was spouting was the 2% wealth tax, not 2%, I'm sorry, the 2 cent wealth tax after a certain amount of, like, after 50 million or whatever it was. And she's saying that this will pay for everything. It'll pay for Medicare for all. It'll pay for the student loan forgiveness. It'll pay for, whatever. And it's nonsense. You think a teacher, well, she was a special needs teacher, I guess, so you don't really have to do a whole lot with that. And I mean, you would imagine a teacher would know some basic math. A 2% wealth tax on the money earned after $50 million is not going to be nearly enough to pay even a fraction of all these social welfare programs. Yet somehow she thinks that this is going to be the solution to all the problems. I mean, she's insane. At least Bernie Sanders is a bit more, I wouldn't call it honest, but he is more pragmatic in the fact that, oh, yeah, I have to tax everybody over 90%. That's what he wants to do. And even he himself has no idea how he's going to pay for all this stuff. He said so himself. Oh, we'll find out after. That's Bernie. When asked about how you're going to pay for like how much is it going to cost and how much you're going to pay for it. Oh, we'll find out after. I still like Steven Crowder's Gilbert Gottfried version of Bernie Sanders. I don't know. I don't know why. To me, that's just one of the funniest things on this planet. But anyways, another thing that she said that is insane. Okay, another thing that's absolutely insane is that she said candidates are directly responsible for their supporters. Now, on the surface, someone might say, well, yeah, I mean, if you have the Bernie bros acting crazy, then it could be what Bernie is saying to them. And there's a little bit of truth in that, but the thing is this. If someone supports me, and they are of an unsavory element, how am I responsible for that? I don't think that's how it works. So that's a little dangerous, that sort of way of thinking. I don't think that's a good way of thinking. Troll GOPJ says, when you lose control over the dollar that you give to the union in favor of group judgments done on your behalf, you will simply become the cog in the machine of funding that supports the greater interest and survival of those that control the union. It's just another form of control and lower level governance. And I agree. I think that's a very sound assessment of what unions do with people. Yeah, I have to agree with that. So I think that's insane what Warren is saying, going back to Warren. The other thing that Warren is absolutely insane about, she wants to remove the filibuster. Think about this for a minute. Think about this for a moment. The filibuster is probably one of the most powerful and useful tools in the legislature by a minority to raise awareness or block a out of control legislature in regards to passing or not passing a law. She wants to remove this. Harry Reid created a nuclear option, which somewhat bypassed the filibuster. So he could jam Obamacare down the throats of Americans, even though Americans didn't want it. Okay? So she wants to remove basically the last defense of a legislature against a rogue, gone wild legislature. This right here should scare the ever living snot out of everybody. I agree, Misery. They should just leave stuff alone. But this in particular should scare you. This is a power move. This is something that a dictator would do. This is bad. This is very, very bad. Not only should this not disqualify her from running as a candidate for presidency, this should bring into question her senator seat, honestly. This really should. This really should. And both sides have, but the left has been particularly aggressive in removing rules for jamming down these sort of things in the government, and that's really, really not good. The left in particular has been very dictatorial and fascistic about this. The right, not so much. I haven't seen the right propose such radical changes within the legislature that would allow them uncontrolled, just willy-nilly craziness rule within the legislative branch. I have not seen such things. So that's just crazy to me. It's just absolutely crazy. That's also bad, Misery. Misery says it's as bad as the increase in use of executive orders. And unfortunately, because the legislature is basically starting to break with all these stupid rule change and partisan politics, you have presidents doing executive orders because things won't get done, and that's a problem. That is a problem. I don't agree with a lot of executive orders. I don't think that that's not the point of the executive branch. It really is not. But it's just like I mean, I get flustered when I think about these things because it's so frustrating to hear such inane stupidity on the side of people who want to be president. We're talking about a very powerful position in government here. We're talking about a lot of power in the hands of sheer stupidity, communists, socialists, people that want to destroy this country, burn it all down. One thing that Buttigieg said, actually, that I have to even agree with, and I don't agree with hardly anything that Mayor Pete Buttigieg says, because he's not a very honest individual as well. But let's not even get into him for the moment. But one thing he said in the debate was that, you know, if we're going to put someone as the candidate for the Democrat Party, they should be a Democrat. They shouldn't be a socialist who wants to burn the entire system and our capitalist system down. And it shouldn't be someone. Well, he was criticizing Bloomberg, saying it shouldn't be someone who isn't a real Democrat. He just wants to buy the candidacy, for example. But the thing is that his comments, even though he lacks a lot of self-awareness, because he himself isn't even a true Democrat by the definition of Democrat, like how it used to be. None of them on the stage are. Maybe Klobuchar. Yeah, and Troll Go PJ pretty much said that, yeah, petty squabbling over who is the better commie is what half of these debates have turned into. So he might be right. That's what I'm saying. There's some truth in what he said, but there's also a very much a lack of self-awareness of what he's talking about, because he himself has really proposed some very radical things. And some of the stuff that he says just makes no sense whatsoever. But another couple of highlights from the whole debate is Sanders. Sanders said that he disavow violence by his supporters. And he said he just blames that, you know, these aren't. He's saying that not really his people, but he disavows any violence by his people. Yet, you know, he may disavow that, but he hasn't made any commentary on what was revealed in Project Veritas about his Bernie Bros wanting to put people in gulags. He's never disavowed Antifa, and many of those are young millennial Zoomers who support him. You know, these are people that are socialists. Yet he has not disavowed them specifically. He did this general disavowing, which I guess is a step in the right direction. But it really didn't really address the real problem elements within his campaign. So I think that's a big problem. Another thing is that Sanders says that he'll release. He claims he already released his full medical records. There's claims he hasn't. I don't know too much the details about that, in all honesty. So, meh, you know, what are you gonna do? It is what it is. Because he's talking about transparency, then he's not even revealing his own stuff. So we'll see what he said he will. We'll see if he does. Bloomberg said he'd reveal his taxes in several weeks or so to come. We'll see if he does. One of the funniest things, though, to me, actually, that happened during this debate was the fact that you actually had people on the stage finally calling out Bernie Sanders for what he is. They were calling him a socialist. They were calling him a communist, which he is. Okay? So, I was amazed. You had Buttigieg doing it. You had Bloomberg doing it. You had not so much the ladies, Klobuchar and Warren. Not so much, but they attacked each other in different ways too. And then the top it off, the cherry on top at the end of all the it seems like they always do this to Biden for some reason. But in the other closing statements of the debates, Biden always gets interrupted somehow by these protesters. I don't know what that is. But he got interrupted by protesters again. And these apparently were lefty protesters that were pro-DACA, asking him, oh, protect us, give us citizenship, blah, blah, blah. You know, that kind of thing. Which, I mean, I don't think any Democrat has said... I mean, Democrats want full amnesty. Democrats want illegals to be here and get everything for free. They don't want any borders. They don't want any sort of limitations or restrictions on people just waltzing into our country. So I find these protests of this kind, at least, a bit strange. Because Biden never said, "Oh, we're gonna do the wall." Like if Trump said we're gonna build a wall, if I become president, we're gonna do the wall as well. I mean, in the past, the Democrats have said that they believe in immigration law, that they, barriers are necessary, technology, blah, 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 blah. But now, just about every Democrat has pretty much said they just want open borders. So I find it surprising. I find it funny that they would protest him. So overall, the debate was a complete clown show. Bloomberg was bludgeoned left and right. He could not answer questions properly, could not defend himself properly. He only did relatively well, and I'm using that term with a I'm using it very loosely. Excuse me. I'm using it very, very loosely. He relatively well, with a grain of salt, by calling out Bernie for what he is, and for calling and saying, defending capitalism. Even though he did a very poor job at defending capitalism, at least He did. At least he tried to defend capitalism. Biden really didn't have a whole lot of talk time. He just kept, whenever he talked, he just kept yelling into the microphone and like just being Joe Biden. I'm still waiting for the next time his eye bursts and you have blood shooting out of his eyeball. So that's gonna be interesting. Yeah, well, I don't think they had a chance anyways. Big Fathead. Big Fathead is saying he assassinated the Democrats' only chance. I don't think they had a chance anyways. But Bloomberg definitely was bludgeoned, and he did a horrible job overall. He probably left the stage as he was like one of those battered wives. I mean, it just, if he wasn't such a if he wasn't such a moron, I'd feel bad for him. But I don't feel really that bad for him. Warren just was insane. She was just a spaz, an absolute spaz. Her campaign is like in the death throes basically at this point. Rigor mortis is setting in. Klobuchar should have not have even been on the stage. Buttigieg, I mean, okay, well, let's do it this way. Let's put it this way. Buttigieg really didn't hurt himself, but he didn't do anything to really improve himself. I mean, he didn't stand out in any shape, way, or form in the debate. He kept getting bludgeoned as well. And he just that's the problem. That, like, if I were a Democrat, and let's pretend I like his policies, you look at Buttigieg though, and whenever someone's talking to him and there's something that he doesn't like, he has a stupid little face, as if he's like a boy being scolded. Okay, which when I see adults do that, I find that's a red flag to me. Because adults shouldn't get this expression of a boy being scolded when they hear stuff that they don't like. That's weird. That's very weird. There's something psychological there, and it's my own speculation on that. I'll admit that. But it's weird when you see something like that. On top of that, he just doesn't really defend himself very well. He doesn't really fight back. And I'm not saying he has to go like do the insanity that Warren does, or start waving his hands about like he's having a stroke like Bernie Sanders does. But he just doesn't have any. He has this very, very milquetoast methodology of speaking and replying, and it's just he like if I were a world leader, and I had to negotiate with him, my impression of him would be that he's a barely singed piece of toast. He's not someone that's going to be any sort of difficult barrier for me to overcome. You know? He just doesn't seem like real leadership material, the way I see it. He just does not portray himself that in such a fashion that I would view him as a leader. So I would say that in this debate, it's not like he hurt himself per se, but he's not doing anything to really make himself look good. I don't see it that way. Then you have Klobuchar, which she's sounds desperate at this point. Burn bread butt guy. Yeah, you might be onto something there, troll. No, I mean, Klobuchar, she shouldn't even be on the stage at this point. I have a feeling that Steyer and Klobuchar might be the next to drop out because they just don't have the support. Warren and Biden are probably going to stick it out to the bitter end. Like I said, Warren was just insane. She did not do herself any favors, in my opinion. I think the only person that won the debate last night was Trump, frankly. I think all of them, the Democrats really showed exactly how much in chaos they truly are. They've got nothing. No. You're absolutely right, Misery. Not a single candidate shifted anyone's views last night. I have to agree. They just showed how inept and chaotic they are. Like they couldn't even orderly debate. They were just it was like a market. You're at the market and people are yelling their wares. It's like it was pure chaos. There was a moment that the debate was absolute chaos. And the moderators couldn't even control anything. It was just absolute lunacy. These people showed themselves to be absolutely unhinged, unprepared, cannot deal with the pressure, desperate, absolutely desperate, and they're just throwing spaghetti at every single wall they see to see if something sticks to make them, to make something happen. Misery is asking me a question here. Were you a political science guy at one point too? Actually, no. Honestly, when I reached the age of paying attention to politics, um, I absolutely abhorred it. I hated it. I thought it was ridiculous. I thought it was stupid. I thought it was corrupt. I didn't like listening to it. I didn't like paying attention to it. But as you get older, you're kind of forced to, in a sense, because you have to know what your government is doing if you want to work, get yourself an education, uh, if you want to open your own business, anything really. That's right, Misery. They don't have a platform. They really don't have anything. The only thing they have is socialism and free gibs. That's really all it is. We can give you free shit. Excuse the language, but that's really what it is. That's their platform. That's what the Democrats have. And it's unfortunate. Well, maybe not that unfortunate. It's fortunate, actually. Yeah, that's right. Can't even debate the Democrats, and Trump won anyways. Yeah, no, that's what it is. It's ridiculous. These people are out of their minds. But to go back to the question about myself is like, no, my background is not political science in any way. Hi, Shirley, from Periscope. How you doing? Thanks for joining in on the stream. Um, so I got into it because I got into it. I got into it because as you get older, you pay taxes. You have to worry about your income. You got to worry about the laws that you need to follow. When you're a kid, you don't think about it too much. And as I got older, I had to worry about this kind of stuff, so I started paying attention. And then, plus, the funny thing was this. Um, the funny thing is this, like, even if you don't want to pay attention to it, you hear stories. You hear the ridiculousness that comes from the news. And that kind of tunes you in to an extent, too, because you're like, wait a minute, did I just hear what I heard? No, Misery. Mom Patch has a dad patch. Dispatch has a mom patch and a dad patch. uh, Unless you want to help pay for Bitwave, stop trying to be his stepdad. Interesting. Interesting proposal, Dispatch. Anyways, yeah, academia is another mess, and I can probably do a stream about that one time here. Another time, I mean, I'm not gonna talk too much about academia. But I've been streaming for over an hour and a half at this point, I believe, and I kind of covered all the topics I want to talk about. But there is one last thing I do want to mention real quick. So I put up a poll before I did this stream for like 3 days to vote to see if people wanted me to do just this continuous weekly thing, a one time a week stream, or if people wanted a daily stream, which most likely would have to be a morning stream, or if there was any other combination of things that people suggested. Turns out the poll results were dead even all around. The same amount of people. I got like 33% option A, daily, 33% option B, weekly, 33% other, and it was usually most people suggested both. Do both. Do a morning thing and then do also a weekly stream. So, I was thinking of giving the masses what they requested. The only thing is, that the way my schedule is, because I'm a wage slave, I'll admit it. I'm beholden to an employer. My daily time for streaming, there's only two ways I can do this: either very late at night or very early in the morning. So I'm trying to scheme and figure out what would be the best way to do this, and I can't guarantee, even if I do a daily thing, I can't necessarily guarantee that I can do it every morning, because depending on scheduling, I may have to leave sooner or later, depending on the work schedule that I have for that day. So, I'm trying to figure out what would be the best way to do it. And the thing is this, like, I don't know how many people I would be able to get to view me at like 7 in the morning or 6 in the morning, something like that. I really don't know. So I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to listen to my audience, and I'm trying to give them what they like, and we'll see. We'll see if I can do something like that. I actually didn't even check my Discord in case people. Yeah, I don't see anybody in the waiting rooms or anything. That's another thing that I was thinking about doing with the. We could do a weekly show where we do call-ins, do it more like an actual radio show, you know. I think that might be nice, and then the morning would be just kind of just a reaction of the trends and the news of the day before. That's the idea. I'm trying to think of also. Well, thank you, Misery. Misery says you ain't half bad, man. 10-10 stream can have a decent debate. Thank you, sir, or madam. I'm not sure what your gender is. But I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much. And like I said, I'll try and think about what would be the best way to approach a daily plus weekly if I really want to do all that. But it comes down to timing. And like I said, because I'm beholden to an employer, unfortunately my time is limited. And I think Misery is male, Mom Patch. I think it's safe to assume that for the most part. But the one thing I just wanted to say is, because I am beholden to an employer and my timing is very limited, I need your support. And as we're wrapping up the show, I shall market myself. Let's put it that way. Please support conservative voices like myself. Support the show, The Abyss, and your host, of course, The Eternal Abyss. If you want to support me, any level of generosity is greatly appreciated. Streamlabs.com/The Eternal Abyss. I really appreciate your support. Please follow, share, tweet. Get on all of the platforms. I am on Twitter, Gab, Parler, Parlay. I don't know how it's pronounced. Minds. I'm on BitChute, YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. DLive. I'm on DLive as well. The more follows I get, the more support I get, the more I can do. And if I'm not beholden to a 9 to 5 schedule, I could be soapboxing all day. And I can have better production values, give you more presentations here, and maybe even reveal myself. Dun dun dun. I don't know. We'll see about that. But but we'll have to figure that out. We'll have to figure that out and see if that's something that I can eventually do. Yes, Troll Go PG, donate to Abyss. Force me to stream more. Yes, sir. Thank you. Listen to the man. Or, listen to the troll. I appreciate all of you. I want to thank you very much for listening. We're going to call it a night. Remember, kids, don't be complacent. That's going to allow the Democrats to win, and we don't want that. So don't be complacent, kids. Have a wonderful night, and I'll catch you a week from now. Or maybe I'll start my daily stream next week. We'll see. I don't know. I'll make an announcement on Twitter. So make sure to follow me on Twitter at The Eternal Abyss, 1S, because Twitter is Twitter. That's unfortunately what it is. But I'm calling it a night. Have a good night, kids.